Alright, hey guys, what's going on? It's the Wrestling King 619 here, back at you with another video. Now, if you guys have not seen my last video, which was my predictions for Clash of the Castle, I had a watch party, Clash of the Castle, which was yesterday, and with my wrestling buddies, because I go to wrestling school for training to become a wrestler. There was literally about like yeah, there's literally about like 20-25 people there. It was an awesome time. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about what happened on Monday, NXT. We're here to talk about what happened in Raw, NXT, and Friday Night SmackDown. And if you guys have not seen my last video, I also said that I will be doing the 3-in-1 video from because uh yeah, 'cause I know how to edit, so it will yeah, so like the 50 minutes or so will probably be like about like 40 minutes of me talking, maybe even less. Alright, but anyway, let's get into the video. Monday Night Raw started with McIntyre in the ring talking about this Saturday. Well, last Saturday, yesterday. I Clash the Castle, he will become world champion. And he said, "Oh, I'm going one-on-one with Priest, but actually I'm not, because wherever he goes, the rest of Judgment Day follows." And Priest came out with Balor and JD right behind him. Priest said, "You got a title match, but you still have excuses. And you say that I can't beat you without Judgment Day? It's my title, not Judgment Day's. I'm heading into your territory, and I will put you down, and I don't need Judgment Day's help to do it." But then Drew McIntyre was still talking about that he couldn't beat him without their help. And Priest said, "Alright, how about this? Uh, how about you face Balor tonight, and if you win, Judgment Day is barred from ringside. But when Balor beats you, I'm going to have them there because it will be an honor beating you in your home country." McIntyre said, "I will beat Balor tonight and win the title on Saturday. I just hope next Monday you're man enough to shake my hand." We showed what happened last week with Liv Morgan, but trying to basically get into Dominic's head and play mind games. And well, this week, this week we go to Judgment Day's clubhouse with Dominic, and he found Liv, and he found that Liv Morgan was in the clubhouse, and he was not happy. She said, "A man like you should be with a girl that's not afraid to call you daddy. And I'll be in my hotel room waiting." Now it's Lyra Valkyria versus Io Sky with Kyrie and Dakota at ringside. And last week, Io beat her up backstage. So now that's why she wants payback. Lyra gave her the Nightwing and pinned her, but Dakota gave her a cheap shot. And the referee didn't see it, and that's why Io kicked out. She took out both of them, but with a distraction, Io did the double knees in the corner move. She did the double knees in the corner move and attempted the top rope moonsault, but Lyra got the knees up. But with a roll-up pin, Io Sky won the match. After the match, they all beat up Lyra, but then Kaden and Katana came out and they were checking on Lyra, but Damage Control left the ring. We go backstage, and Sammy is talking to Tozawa and Maxine, and told them, "I'm sorry you two got caught up in the middle of this." He said, "You don't have to be with Gable." But then Otis was behind him. Otis said, "Yeah, Sammy, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to beat you up again. Last week, my actions got the better of me. And Sammy said, "You don't have to explain. You don't have to deal with Gable either. I've been in your guys' position when I was with the Bloodline. I don't know why you keep on putting up with him." And he said, "At one point, I lost everything. Mandy, my peach, the briefcase, and Tucky. But Gable was there for me, and without Gable, I'm nothing." Sammy said, "That's what he wants you to believe. Those are his words, and you don't know how special you are." Now we go back to the ring, and it's Strowman, Dragon Lee, and Rey Mysterio versus Dominic, JD, and Carlito. And Zelina is at ringside for Rey Mysterio's team. Carlito took Dragon Lee off the apron, and then when Rey Mysterio was trying to tag in Strowman, JD and Balor took him out. Carlito was hanging upside down, and Dragon Lee gave him a double stomp and pinned him, but JD broke it up. Liv was on the apron, and Dominic went outside the ring to tell her to leave, but then Zelina took her off the apron, but right into Dominic, and she was literally on top of Dominic, like hovering over Dominic, right? Like Dominic was like laying down and she was basically like on top of him. And Zelina and Liv were fighting, and they were separated by Ray and JD. Strowman did the express to all three of them, and then he gave Carlito a running power slam, and Dragon Lee with a splash from Strowman's shoulders onto Carlito, and they won the match. They were Then we go to the ring to Sami Zayn talking about his title defense against Gable for Clash of the Castle. Sami said, "I don't even know what to call this rivalry, but I'm not going to run down a list of how many times you attacked me and everything with the Academy. I'm putting this bluntly. This Saturday, well, last Saturday, yesterday, I am beating Gable and putting an end to all of this. We can't have any more of this manipulative playing. It's time to get back to work." But then Gable came out with the rest of Alpha Academy. He said, "The only manipulator is you, Sammy, sticking your nose in our business, trying to break us up. But they're happy, and they're going to even be more happy when I take your title." Sammy said, "You are stupid if you think they're happy. Gable doesn't give a damn about the three of you. And he doesn't care if you guys are happy. But guess what? I do, and so do the fans." Gable said, "We're a family, and families stick together no matter what. And tonight I unleash my version of Otis on you, of the one that obeys and does as I say." And that match is next. And Gable and Maxine and Tozawa are at ringside. Otis gave Sammy two splashes, but that wasn't good enough for Gable, and he got on the apron and was scolding him to do another one, and to not do the caterpillar, I think. But with a distraction and a haluva kick, yeah, but with the distraction and a haluva kick, Sammy won. After the match, Gable was attacking Sammy and was holding Sammy up, and Gable was telling Otis to hit him, but he didn't, and Gable smacked him. Otis turned around, and I thought was going after Gable, but Gable ducked out of the way and beat up Sammy and gave him the world's strongest slam. Then Otis was cornering Gable and was about to punch him, but Gable begged and pleaded for him not to do it, and he couldn't do it. We go backstage, and now this part's funny. We go backstage, and Miz found Truth because he was looking for him, like yeah, he was looking for him for about like an hour, maybe like an hour and a half. Since the show started, he'd been looking for him backstage. Well, Miz found Truth, and Truth said, "I was getting my fortune read, dog, and it looks like we have a title match tonight against APA. You know, Farouk and Bradshaw." Miz said, "We can't fight them." And Truth said, "Ah, don't be scared." And then Scarlet, and then he says, I got my fortune read. It was written in the stars. And then Scarlet came on the scene and said, AOP is looking forward to seeing you in the ring later. And she left. And 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 R-Truth said, dog, she meant APA. And he also said, yes, and he also said, yeah, the fortune is written in the stars, that we're doomed. Now back to the ring, and it's Shayna and Zoe versus Alba and Isla, and Bianca and Jade are at ringside getting a closer look at their opponents for Clash at the Castle. After the bell rang, Stark and Baszler were settling on who was going to start the match, but Isla took out Shayna, and who has a hurt knee because of battleground match between Lola Vice and her in the underground match. And when Zoe wanted to make the tag, she wasn't on the apron. This match wasn't anything special. Yeah, but after the match, Shayna came in. But yeah, this match wasn't anything special. But after Shayna came in, she beat both of them up and won with the Karafuda clutch on Alba. Now, well, also rest in peace. Prayers to Alba Fire and her family as her mom passed away. I want to say on Friday from a car accident. But anyway, okay. Now back to in-ring competition. It's Ilya Dragunov versus Braun Breaker. Breaker gave Dragunov a power slam, and I think he fell on his head a little bit, but nonetheless he kicked out of the pin. He gave Braun a Constantine special and an H-bomb, but couldn't capitalize on either of them because it took a lot out of him as well. Dragunov gave him the Death Valley driver into the corner, a coast to coast, and a top rope senton and pinned him, but somehow Breaker kicked out. Then we go outside the ring, and Dragunov is trying to put Breaker through the announcer's table, but Breaker reversed it, and Ilya went ribs first on the edge of the table, and then was targeting his ribs throughout the rest of the match. Breaker speared him, but Ilya rolled out of the ring before he could capitalize, and speared him again outside the ring. Dragunov made it back in the ring by the count of the referee's 9 count, because, by 10, yeah, I get counted out. But with a third spear, Braun won. After the match, Dragunov was outside the ring, and he was up against the barricade. And Breaker was looking to beat him up again. But then Ricochet came out. He went, uh, uh, he basically gave him like a crossbody from the top of the barricade. Now we go backstage to Sheamus and McIntyre, and Sheamus said, Oi, fella! I know we haven't seen eye to eye since I came back, but this Saturday at Clash of the Castle, you're on the cusp of greatness in your hometown, and go get him. McIntyre said, Oh, you better be there when I win, because after that we're celebrating with pints. Sheamus said, I'm gonna win money in the bank. And McIntyre said, Alright, man, go for it. But when you do, I'll be champion. But be a real man, not like Priest. And tell me when you're cashing in. Now we go back to the ring, and it's Awesome Truth versus AOP for the titles, and the rest of Final Testament are obviously at ringside. They were both doing the Cena stuff, but then Scarlett was distracting the referee, and Cross interfered, but then New Day came out, beating up Cross. The referee was distracted again, and Truth clobbered Akam with the title, but to no avail. Yeah, but to no avail. But Miz rolled him up, and they retained the titles, and New Day was dancing on the stage. Now we go backstage to Ricochet helping Dragunov walk to his car, I think, or something. But Breaker found them and speared Dragunov. Ricochet was trying to beat him up. Yeah, we go to the parking lot, and Ricochet was trying to beat him up. But Breaker beat him up and powerbombed him through a windshield, and then medics put him in an ambulance. And he's heading off to AEW. as well as Samantha Irvin, I do believe. And also I just heard a rumor that McIntyre is also being discharged from WWE too. Yeah, I mean, well, he did come back to win the big one, so that is true. All right, well, now it's the main event: McIntyre versus Balor. And if McIntyre beats Balor, then at Clash at the Castle yesterday, the rest of Judgment Day are banned from ringside. Also, Pat McAfee is the ring announcer for this match because Samantha went with Ricochet to the hospital because their fiance. Yeah, they're engaged. So Balor is targeting McIntyre's arm, but McIntyre gave Balor a belly to belly over the announcer's table. Finn applied an armbar, but McIntyre gave him a sit down powerbomb but couldn't capitalize. McIntyre gave Balor a superplex from the top rope and pinned Balor, but he kicked out. Drew then gave him a future shock DDT and was about to go for the Claymore, where Priest came on the apron, but McIntyre wasn't falling for this because JD came in the ring, but McIntyre beat him up, I think, with the Claymore. Balor was going for the coup de grace, but Drew rolled out of the way, and with the Claymore he won, and Judgment Day are barred from ringside in Scotland. Alright, that was everything that happened on Raw. Now I go to NXT. We go to NXT right after Battleground, and we go in the ring to the inaugural Women's North American Champion, Kalani Jordan, and she said, at Battleground, people were flying and risks were being taken, but when I climbed up the ladder and won the title, it's a moment that I'll remember forever. As she said, there is no history with this title, so it's up to me to create the history and the lineage. But then Jada Parker came out and said, "You're talking about making history with that title. Well, it won't be for long because after I defeat Michin tonight." But then she attacked Michin. Wait, but then she got attacked by Michin, and the match started. Jada got her with the hip check, but she went out of the ring, and she almost got knocked out. And even Gallows and Anderson are checking on her, but she brought her yeah, on her, but she went back in the but she brought her back in the ring and pinned her, but Michin kicked out. Jada got a steel chair, but Gallus was distracting the referee and and Anderson took the chair out of her hands. But with an O'Connor roll, Michin won. We go to Chase U and Ridge and Riot. And also we actually later found out that she is Kalani Jordan's first title defense next week, I think. Next week. Meechin and Kalani Jordan. Now we go to Chase U, and Ridge and Riley are blaming each other for the reason that Thea lost to Jasmine last week. Ridge said, "Oh, you two said that you weren't going to be onto ringside." And all four of them were verbally fighting at once. And Thea came in and said and yelled, "Everyone, shut the F up and sit down." And well, she actually said the F word though, but they bleeped it out because NXT they can't even say "you effed up" or "holy shit" or something, right? Yeah, they can't even say that without being bleeped out. Thea said, Thea said, "So what if Rich is an outsider, Riley? So are you. And we let you in. And Mr. Chase, you practically gambled away Chase University. And everyone needs to get on the same page, and that's not a lesson. That is just the facts." Now we go back to the ring, and it's Wesley and Bate, and Dunn versus Gallus, and after Gallus blindsided West after their match at Battleground. Before commercial break, Bate was doing the airplane spin on Mark Coffey. Wesley did the Meteora on Joe Coffey and pinned him, but he kicked out. A couple times in the match, Dunn was breaking both Coffey boys' fingers, but with a big clothesline by Joe Coffey, Gallus won. Now it's an evil Wendy Chu versus Brinley Reese, and Idris and Malik are at ringside. This match wasn't anything worth mentioning, but Wendy Chu won in her return match. All week long, Mensa and Ethan Page have been fighting because he was the one who had took out both Dar and Mensa. And Ava tweeted out that she has no other choice but to fine and ban Mensa from NXT tonight. Well, last Tuesday, because Ethan Page was there. Now we go back to the ring with with a surprise, that being of Cody Rhodes. He said, "There's a lot of magic here in NXT," and then he was talking about his match at Clash of the Castle against Styles for the title in an I Quit match. Then Trick came out and said, "I respect you, dog. We both had similar journeys and huge mountains to climb to get where we are today as champions. And now that we have everything we've been chasing for so long, they're chasing after us now. But how do you deal with all this, Cody?" Cody said, "Even though you may have climbed the mountain, there's always more to climb." And he was referring to his title, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. "And your next challenger will be determined in a 25-men battle royale. But just to let you know, and that's next week. But just to let you know, some of the competitors might be from different locker rooms, meaning Raw and or SmackDown." Now we go back to in-ring competition, and it's the Singaporean kendo stick match between Lexis King and Dante Chen. And when King was making his entrance, Chen was beating him up. Most of the match, Lexis was beating him up with the kendo sticks, and then during a portion of the match, I should say, Lexus was beating him up with kendo sticks and then gave him a kick to the back of the head and pinned him, but Dante kicked out. Then it was Dante's turn to beat him up with the sticks, but Lexus gave him a low blow, and with the coronation, he won the match. We go backstage to Jasmine, JC Jane, and Cody Rhodes, and he gave JC what was in a brown paper bag, which was a clear face mask for her nose, and Jasmine said, "Wow, that's dashing." Because remember back, I want to say like 12 years ago or so. I think like 13 actually. Remember, he had the whole thing with the paper bag, and I remember he had the broken nose from Mysterio actually. I actually remember it was actually from Mysterio, I think. Now he's passing down the thing. Now he's passing down the nose mask, the face mask, because remember, JC Jane has a broken nose from Thea Hale. Yeah, yeah. Then we go backstage, and this is when Michin was announced that she would be the next challenge, the first challenger for Connie Jordan. Um, now back to the ring, and it's Tavion Heights versus a returning Eddie Thorpe. This match was pretty good. Tavion gave him a run for his money, but we all knew Thorpe was going to win, and he's returning, so he has to show up and show out. We go backstage to the No Quarter Catch crew, and Dempsey wants another member to the faction, that of Tavian Heights, because he had a really good showing against Thorpe. Now it's the main event. Bouncy Javon Evans versus Sean Spears. And Spears gave him a single leg Boston Crab, but Evans made it to the ropes. And then Evans gave him a roundhouse and some kind of sit down power bomb, but couldn't capitalize on it. Spears gave Evans a DDT from the top rope and pinned him, but he kicked out. Javon gave him the cutter, but couldn't capitalize on it because Spears were out of the ring. And then Spears and then Evans went ribs first on the point of the announcer's table. But with the C4, Spears won. Then we go backstage to Cody and Spears said, "You won the world title, and come next week, I'll win the Battle Royale, and then beat Trick to get my moments." Then Ethan Page came on the scene and interrupted and said, "I'm in this battle too." Well, then Lexus King was there too, and they're all talking about how they're going to win the Battle Royal to be the number one contender for Trick Williams. In a little history, all four of those men were in AEW and then left to go WWE. It was them four, Jade Cargill and CM Punk that all went from AEW to WWE. Now Roxanne is in the ring talking about the women's division after she beat Jordan Grace to retain her title. She said, "Because I retained my title, it stays on NXT, and everyone should be thanking me." And she called out Ava. Ava said, "Congratulations, but I'm not really sure what I'm thanking you for. This is just part of being a great champion." Roxanne said, "Whoever put me up against, I'll retain because no one can take it from me." Then JC and Jasmine came out, and JC said, "Are you really taking all the credit for the women in the locker room? Because before you came along, I was one of the reasons people actually watched the show NXT." Then Lash and Jakara came out, and Lash said, "We were making moments while the two of you were out on the shelf, and we were going and we were going to target Kalani, but but you want to take all the credit, well then we're coming for you." Then Lola Rice came out and said, "Roxanne, at Battleground you proved you were different, and well so did I. And Roxanne's only on a level that I matched, not you guys." And then a fight broke out, which saw Roxanne and Lola were the ones standing in the ring. Now, and that was everything that happened on NXT. Now, SmackDown. SmackDown started with Naomi. Well, actually, SmackDown was actually in Glasgow, Scotland, because the next day it was Castle. SmackDown started with Naomi versus Chelsea Green, and Bailey and Piper are at ringside. This match wasn't too much to talk about, but Naomi won. That now we go backstage to Baron Corbin talking to Nick Aldis about a fresh start on SmackDown. But then Legado del Fantasma interrupted them, and Aldis told Corbin to leave, which he did. He told all of them that they're lucky that they are even in the building after they beat Apollo Crews last week, and next time, a fine will be the least of their worries. Apollo is cleared to compete, and he is going to fight against Santos. Now we go back to the ring for a Grayson Waller effect with Waller and Theory and their guests are DIY. Ciampa said, "Well, if this is the Grayson Waller effect, then who is Theory? Your secretary?" But Grayson said, "At the end." Wait, but I might. Yeah, but Grayson said, "Yeah, at the end of the day, we are still best friends and the tag titles and the tag champs." Ciampa said, "We are in Scotland, and I don't think they came here to watch your stupid talk show. They came to see a fight for those tag titles." And Waller said, "Hey, we are not defending our titles in Scotland. And you guys are trying to drive a wedge between us? Well, that's not going to work." Gargano said to Theory, "We've known each other for a while, since the DIY, since the way, and I know what you can do on your own, and it kills me to see you like this, and Waller's just using you." Then a fight ensued, with which saw DIY get the upper hand. Now we go back to the in-ring competition, and it's Santos versus Apollo Crews, and the rest of Legado and Corbin are at ringside. And Corbin, I think, is for Apollo because Santos called him out earlier when Corbin and Legado Fantasma were with Nick Aldis. As Cruz came off the top rope, he ate a jumping knee strike from Santos. Apollo gave him a Death Valley driver and pinned him, but he kicked out. And a distraction from the referee because Corbin was beating up Angel and Humberto. He didn't see Alexa pull Cruz off the ropes, and with a roll-up, Santos won the match. A couple of superstars bought tickets to see SmackDown, such as Andrade, Cedric Alexander, Ashante Theodonis, and Pretty Deadly. And all but Andrade, we haven't seen them in months. Actually, I don't think we've even seen Andrade since WrestleMania. Come to think of it, I think. Now back to the ring, and Cody Rhodes is talking about his I Quit match for the title between himself and Styles tomorrow night, which is last night. But then, watch which was yesterday, because it was in Scotland, so it was different time zone. But then Styles came out and said, "Me and you are nothing alike. It took me 17 years to get to WWE, but they brought you in with open arms." And Styles said, "When times got tough, you quit. You not only quit WWE, but you quit New Japan, Ring of Honor, and even a company that you helped create. You're a quitter. You can't handle the pressure." Cody said, "You're right. I walked away, but I'm never afraid to walk away from something to make something greater. But I did not quit. I bet on myself that I was something more, and I was right. If I would have quit, I wouldn't be standing here today as the face of this company being champion. But AJ, you quit on yourself, and all you had to do to get a rematch is pretend to be Mark Henry." Because remember, Mark Henry did the remember Mark Henry pretended to retire with Cena back in like 2014. He said, "You have become a resentful coward, but I will do whatever it takes to make you say I quit." Styles said, "My family would rather have me at home, but I'm done when I say I'm done. And it's not going to be easy, but I'm going to do whatever it takes to win." We go backstage, and Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa are beating up Street Profits and how to be separated by officials. Now it's the Queen of the Ring, Nia Jax, versus Michin, and Stratton is on commentary. And she's friends with Nia Jax, but I can't say the same for Stratton. This match was nothing to talk about. It's basically a squash match because Michin beat up Stratton for throwing water on her, and from the distraction, Nia won with the Annihilator. Last week, and now this part was funny. Last week, Knight said he would bring the SmackDown to Logan Paul, and earlier Friday, Logan Paul found LA Knight in his pool in his backyard. Then Carmelo Hayes was talking in the crowd and said, "Knight flew all the way to Logan's house just so he can swim in his pool. The difference between me and you, LA, is that I don't chase opportunities. They chase after me." And he said that he's going to win Money in the Bank and be mellow in the bank. We go backstage to Nick Aldis talking to the Bloodline, and said Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa are barred from ringside, and if he sees either one of them, the whole Bloodline will be suspended. Heyman said to Solo that no one is going to be out there tonight. Oh, well, no one except him, actually. Yeah, but if you lose, you will also lose your leadership position. And Solo said, "No, man. If I lose this match, I'm coming after you." And now we go to the entrance ramp to Jackie Redmond interviewing Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, just basically saying that they're the hometown heroes at Clash of the Castle because they're from Scotland in the triple threat match for the titles. And now it's the main event, Solo Sikoa versus Kevin Owens, and Heyman is at ringside. Solo gave Owens a hip attack and then tried it again, but wasn't so lucky the second time. And Owens gave him a DDT and then did a tornado DDT and pinned him, but Solo kicked out. Solo gave him a Samoan drop and pinned Owens, but Owens kicked out. And Owens gave him a cannonball in the corner and a swanton bomb and pinned him, but Solo kicked out. Owens gave him a frog splash and pinned him, but Solo he kicked out again, and Solo gave Owens two Uranagis or rock bottoms and pinned him, but Owens kicked out. Owens tried for another swanton bomb but got the knees up. And Solo went for the spike, but Owens recountered it with a stunner and was about to win, but Heyman put Solo's foot on the ropes to break it up, and the referee did not see Heyman but saw the rope break. Owens was about to put Heyman through the announcer's table, but Solo got him with 2 spikes and won the match. After the match, Tonga, Loa, and Tama Tonga came in the ring, and all 3 of them beat up Owens. And remember, both Tongas beat up Street Profits backstage. But then Randy Orton came out, and both of them took out the 3 of them. And that was everything that happened in WWE this last past week. And I'll catch you guys on my next video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and peace.